All right, welcome. Today we're cracking open a case file on a mystery that stumps even the best of them, the growth plateau. It's that invisible wall that can just stop a great business in its tracks. So, this is the big question, right? When you feel like you've done everything right, your schedule is totally packed, what's the next move? How do you keep growing when you've pretty much hit the ceiling of your own success? To get to the bottom of this, we're going to dive into the case of a real local company, Pipe Dreams Plumbing. They've built something awesome. But now, well, they're stuck in a classic growth trap. Okay, first things first. Let's get the lowdown on our client. Who exactly is Pipe Dreams Plumbing, and what makes their situation so darn interesting? For the last 10 years, Pipe Dreams has basically been the definition of local success. Their entire brand is built on this quirky neighborhood charm. From the cartoon van to that catchy slogan. Their reputation, it's all about their super friendly techs and these little touches, like giving out free coffee. This isn't just a plumbing service, it's a fixture in the community. But here's our crime scene, the growth plateau. This is what happens when a business, after a really great run, just stops growing. For Pipe Dreams, it means their service calendars are booked solid, but they just can't seem to break into new neighborhoods. They've maxed out their home turf. To solve this mystery, you got to start with the primary evidence. We need to figure out how Pipe Dreams got so successful in the first place. What was their secret weapon? And boom, here it is, the heart of the problem. Their whole growth engine was built on word of mouth, happy customers telling their neighbors. Now, that is incredibly powerful, but it has a natural limit, right? Eventually, you just run out of new neighbors to tell. And you got to understand just how powerful that is. A referral isn't just a pat on the back. It's someone calling you who's already sold, totally ready to hire you. Pipe Dreams literally built their business on the best kind of leads you can imagine. And that brings us right to the heart of this mystery. What do you do when your greatest strength actually becomes your biggest weakness? Well, you have to start looking for new clues. So, to find new customers outside their little bubble, Pipe Dreams needs a whole new playbook. They're looking into event marketing, so we're going to treat 4 of these potential options as the suspects in our investigation. All right, here's our lineup of the usual suspects. First up, sponsoring local block parties, super on brand. Next, hosting some DIY plumbing workshops, positioning themselves as the friendly experts. Then there's the big play, trade fairs, for a much wider audience. And finally, community sponsorships, just to get their name out there. 4 suspects, 4 very different MOs. Now, this is where the real detective work begins. A good detective doesn't just glance at the suspects, they weigh all the evidence. We need to put each of these options under the microscope and see which one really holds up. And believe me, the stakes are high. Picking the right event is a big deal, because get this, 80% of small businesses are planning to spend over $10,000 a year on them. For a company like Pipe Dreams, a wrong move here isn't just a bummer, it's a very expensive mistake. Okay, let's put these suspects on our investigation board. We're going to check them against 4 critical clues. Let's take block parties. Brand fit? Perfect. Great for trust building too. But the lead quality? Kind of low. Most folks are there for a burger, not to hire a plumber. Now flip that and look at trade fairs. They might get you some high-quality leads, sure, but the brand fit for a quirky local company is pretty weak, and the cost can be huge, which puts your ROI at risk. See? Every suspect has its pros and cons. We need the one that scores high across the whole board. So, after sifting through all the clues for all 4 suspects, one strategy really starts to stand out. It's our most promising lead by far. And the verdict is DIY workshops. So why? Well, they nail every single clue on our board. The brand fit is perfect. It reinforces that they're helpful, friendly experts. It builds incredible trust because you're face-to-face, and most importantly, it generates high-quality leads. The people who show up are homeowners actively thinking about plumbing, which all points to the strongest possible ROI. Case closed. So what's in our final case report? What are the big takeaways here? First, trust is the ultimate currency, and it's built face-to-face, just like their original referrals. Second, brand authenticity is everything. Whatever you do has to feel like you. Third, remember the goal is generating leads, not just getting your name out there. And finally, you have to respect your limits. Don't generate a bunch of leads you can't actually handle. And look, this is why this whole case matters, way beyond just plumbing. Breaking through a growth plateau isn't about throwing money at the wall or just guessing what might work. It takes a real strategic investigation to find that one clue that cracks the whole case wide open. So I'll leave you with this thought. Every business has its own growth mystery to solve. If you're facing a plateau, you have to think like a detective. What's your first clue, and where do you think it's going to lead you?